Johanse Aridike joins me for our Mental Health Matters Thursday. We're taking it old school, in the car park. Pull aside, of course, nation, just to give everybody that assurance that we're having a safe conversation. And today we're dealing with the venting session, quote unquote. Johanse, great to see you. Good morning.
Good morning, Jason, and good morning to everyone viewing.
What are we venting about this morning? Talk to me.
Jason, we're venting about anything. Hear this, right? Human behavior is thought into feeling into action. And that feeling is energy that fuels our actions. But if we have no action, that fuel is stuck inside of us and it has to go somewhere. And those who do physics, that energy is potential and to kinetic. So potential meaning like a fist you're holding it, and kinetic meaning when you release it. But many of us don't have the opportunity to release it or don't take the time to release it. So today, and as we hear, and he had some callers before, we just venting, we just letting things out, things that bother us, things that irritate us. Just sometimes we let it out instead of letting it boil inside of us.
Well, I'm glad that you actually parked in a car today, and I want to start right there, because if it's one place we see people using the opportunity to vent is extreme venting and release is indeed in a car, winding down the glass if they get a bad drive. And sometimes I believe it's not even the bad drive that causing them to act in that way. Something probably frustrating them, and in that moment, this person who gave you the bad drive, or this person who you deem as frustrating you with how they're moving, you let off your steam. Now, I don't do it, I can't afford to. I sit down here on the show taking calls live. I can't be doing them thing you answer. You understand?
Why not take you one?
Well, I mean, one is not my spirit. I'm not one to carry on like that. And even two, I understand my rule. Because if I take in live calls, open forum, and I cuss with somebody, who's to say that person could call and say, hey, you old dog like that. I mean, so I don't want to put myself in a scenario like that. But I've seen firsthand where people and road rage and venting on the road partner is very severe.
Jason, and the thing is, everybody is responsible for their behavior. But to be honest, let me use the road. I was driving through, I'll tell you where, in central Edinburgh South, Cashew Gardens. And if you see the roads, if you see terrible conditions of the road, and then thinking about it in general, the nation's road is not improving. So driving on the road itself will get you irritated. And I'm not saying you should wind on the glass and cuss somebody when you're irritated, but sometimes the general infrastructure, you have to navigate it, and it's not good for your mental health. So we talk about the roads, we could talk about some of the systems. People just come and vent to me. Sometimes just listening to people, there are so many things, fundamental things I would say in the country that not up to scratch, that you just need to let out the steam.
But sometimes I wonder if when we let off that steam, we adjust ourselves based on time and place. Because the same way somebody will get on in a line to pay a bill with a public utility or a local company, the line long, they find it's an issue and they will raise their voice. I do not see that same enthusiasm, that same level of commitment to call out this long line and the wrongdoing when people stand by Marley Street waiting for the U.S. visa appointment. More so that when they go in, and if you're rejected, you nod and you walk outside, and probably you might cuss down by Maraval Road or across the Savannah, but you do not. I've never in all my years seen anybody get on bad on Marley Street and the line long, you answer, by the U.S. Embassy.
Well, I would say it's not common, but I've seen it, and security handle it in a specific kind of way. But still, Jason, even though you see people adjust in terms of how they vent, you still have to let it out. And that's what I want to encourage people, not to keep it inside. I'm not saying to disrespect people in your venting or do it in an unhealthy way, but understand you have to get it out, because there are so many things. Now, I'm not saying there's no positive thing, but there are so many things, fundamental things that you're quarreling about, it has to change, whether it is in your personal life, whether it is people around you, whether it is in your city, your town, your village, or in the country, that not changing. And when you keep it inside, one, nobody hearing your voice to know that it's time to change. And then two, you could also make yourself unhealthy by holding it.
Let me ask you though, is it advised that you probably pick a moment, pick a time? Because you could vent in the moment and be very passionate about it, or you could, from what I try to do, think about it, do some self-reflection, and bring it to the person when I'm a bit more calm, a little more measured in my approach. Is there what's your recommendation in terms of venting and timing, the timing of your vent?
I would say if you can exercise a degree of control is always better. Whether it is you're venting to someone, you're venting publicly, you're venting even privately. And if you realize that you don't have the degree of control, that's when you can tell that something wrong. People often ask me how it is measure your mental health. And one way to measure it, whether you're healthy or you're not, is how well you're able to manage your emotions. So even within the venting, right? Sometimes something happens and you want to react immediately. But if you don't have the presence of mind to even think about it or modify it in a way that is healthy for you or the situation, then that's a sign that too much, you're handling too many things and it's time to do something different.
Let me put a twist on it here now, Yohanse. We live in a technological age. Social media governs so much. What about people who use the platform to vent? They would have received positive feedback based on their issue. They call out some company, they call out somebody, and the likes and the yes thing and the flames, and all of a sudden you realize that venting can now be a business. There are people who literally that's all they do. They just vent, and they've turned it into part of their brand and their presence on said social media.
Well, if you're venting, and I guess this will be based on general consensus, if you're venting about something that affects a lot of people, then I would say go ahead and do it. Because there's a difference between, of course, venting and trolling and just being malicious. But if it's a valid vent and the public will decide what's valid, then vent. Because the thing is, if it didn't have something to vent about that was major, then the person wouldn't be in business. If the potholes was fixed, then we would not even have get something unpaved. If it didn't have these problems, then we have less things to vent about. So I say, if venting could create a business, then do that until it have nothing or very little to vent about.
You think it's dangerous if somebody holds it in all the time, they just don't vent, they try to keep it calm, try to keep it cool? Could this cause someone to explode at some point in time?
Yes, Jason. Yes, it's dangerous. Think about it like putting air into a balloon. If you continue pumping air into a balloon, eventually it will pop. Or eventually the air will start to seep out. You know, sometimes when you're trying to blow up a balloon, the air starts to seep out randomly. Because the same with emotions. Either you'll explode on somebody, explode on your car, explode on the road, or randomly. Because I've had people tell me, and also I've experienced myself, sometimes a tear come out your eye, and why are you crying, boy? Or why are you feeling this way? And nothing happened before. So it comes out randomly. So yes, it is unhealthy to keep everything inside.
As we wrap things up, what's some recommendations to help you unwind, to help you, I guess, yes, important to blow off the steam, the event, but what could help you sometimes heal if you took it a little bit too far?
One, if another party involved or parties, apologize. Because I think everyone understands that we are human and that we may have a bad day. And if you blow up on somebody, at least start with an apology. Sometimes an apology doesn't exactly clear everything, but at least start with a sorry. And then do some self-introspection and wonder, well, why did I blow up on this person? Why is this thing bothering me? And then when you understand that, you're able to manage it better, because knowledge is power. Knowledge of why you do it will help you manage.
Closing remarks, Yohanse, it's all yours.
Nothing is wrong with venting once it's done in a healthy manner. Don't make life complicated by keeping everything inside. Because even though life is not easy, it's really not that hard. Thank you for listening.
Yohanse IODK, behavioral change consultant, touching base for another successful mental health matters. Have a great one, Yohanse. God spare, we'll talk again next week.
Thanks, Jason. You too.
You're most welcome. I'm going to make my exit, make some room and make some space for the man himself. Yes, Ian Weeson. We're talking here sports, we're talking morning shot, we're talking full analysis, and if time permits, he might even pitch in some calls. Ian steps in next, right here on The Morning Brew. Godspeed, I'm back for more tomorrow.